Hey friends, so today we're shaving a door, all right, and I want to go over a couple of things with you guys. First, just to make sure that you do indeed have to shave the door. Like if you got new carpet or something, you know, you got to shave the door. But let's say if the door was like fine for years and nothing changed with the carpet or flooring, and then all of a sudden the door's rubbing at the bottom, you might not want to just jump in and start shaving the door. You might want to check to see if the hinges are loose. And the way we do that, okay, so this is the door here. And the thing is, when they got this rug, and this is powder room, when they got the rug, right, the door, like, either the rug gets stuck underneath or the door pushes the rug because there's no clearance. But, so what I would do to check if the hinges were loose is I would simply, like, grab the door and lift up. If that hinge is loose, and what I've done is I've actually loosened the hinge just to show you. So we're gonna grab the door like this, and we're gonna lift up and down, and we're gonna look, not this hinge, but we're gonna look at that top hinge. And like I said, I've loosened this to show you. You see how that hinge is wiggling? So when you have a loose hinge like that, what it does is, let's say my hand is the door sits like this all of a sudden, which means that this edge would start hitting the door frame, and also that bottom edge would start scraping the floor. Do you get it? So if my hand is the door, and that top hinge is loose, the door, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the door moves and will cause interference troubles, and you may think that you have to shave the door or cut the bottom, but it's not actually the case. What you would do is, after doing that shake test, is you would come to that top hinge and you would tighten up these screws, and the problem is solved. But I will tell you, sometimes when they get loose like this, because the screw, and we all know a screw has threads on it, and when a hinge like that is loose for a long time, because the screw has those threads on it, going in and out with that loose hinge, every time you open and close the door, the screw becomes like a little wood saw, and it'll actually make the screw hole big enough that when you go to tighten the screw, it just keeps turning and turning and turning, and it won't tighten. You can't tighten up the top hinge. And what we would do in that situation is take a wood dowel, or even some toothpicks, or a splinter of wood, and we would take the screw out, tap the dowel in the screw hole, therefore filling up the screw hole with new wood, break the dowel off, or cut it even with the hinge, and maybe even tap it, stick your screwdriver in that little piece of wood that's sticking out, tap it in a little bit so that it's actually recessed past the face of the hinge. Then put the screw in, and the screw would effectively push the wood that you just put in out and fill in the hole, and then you'll be able to tighten up that screw really nice. But that just being the case, because I want you to check the hinges before you decide to start shaving or cutting. So we figured out that the door is mounted correctly, and we know that either you got new carpet or some other reason that you know you have to cut the door. So that having been said, we check the hinges, they're good, and we know there's a reason that the door needs to be cut because you got new rug or something, or you need clearance. This is how we're gonna shave the door. To get this door off so that we can cut the bottom, and another quick note, and I throw a lot of information at you guys as my videos going along. It's not so much like set up, you know, with storyboards and stuff like that. It's really just like on the fly stuff. So basically what I want to say, and it's coming back into memory right now, is an edge of a door, we would shave the edge of the door. Any clearance issues with the top edge or the bottom edge of the door, you can't shave it because it's the end grain of the wood. So you can't plane an end grain. It's just gonna keep getting hung. You gotta cut it, okay? So we're gonna cut the bottom of the door. If we had to clearance the side of the door, we would shave the side of the door. But anyway, this door needs about a 1/4 inch cut off the bottom for this rug. So we're gonna take the door off the hinges, and we're gonna take it out to the truck, and we're gonna mark it with a carpenter square and cut nice and straight. We don't freehand this at all. You don't wanna wave the edge on the bottom of your door. It's gonna be there forever. You wanna make it look nice. So we're gonna mark it with a carpenter square or some sort of straight edge, and we're gonna cut right on that line. So you need like a mallet, and like an ice pick comes in handy, or a small bladed screwdriver, because we want to take these hinge pins off. And we're going to start at the bottom hinge, take that pin out, the middle one, and the top one last. And when we install the door, we're going to do that reverse. So we're going to put the top hinge pin in first, then the middle one, then the bottom. It's just that if we take the top one out first and then this one and leave the bottom one, the door could actually like fall and pull the bottom hinge out or bend it and stuff, because all the weight's going to be on it. So we want to go from the bottom up. So here's the bottom hinge. So this one's already out a little bit, but let's say it was in really good. What I would want to do is like put like an ice pick or a similar tool in the bottom of the hinge and just knock the pin up. Just that little bit, so that I could get like a bladed screwdriver in there and finish. Once you get it up a little bit, you could usually pull it out by hand, and they're usually like pretty dirty with black dusty stuff on them, so you may want to wear gloves or not touch the shaft so much, because your fingers are going to get dirty, and then the rest of the door you're going to leave big fingerprints. So that's the bottom hinge. We're going to do the middle and the top. Let me just show you guys quickly. Here's the middle hinge. And again, some sort of ice pick type tool. Some hinges have a little cap on the bottom which pulls straight out. It's a decorative cap just to make it look good. So if yours had a little cap on the bottom, which would look like the cap at the top of the hinge pin, but it would be at the bottom, you can just take that out. Or a lot of times the ice pick or similar tool will fit in. There's usually a little hole it'll fit in, and you'll be able to knock up that hinge pin. And like I said, just get it up a little bit so you can take it out. Now the bottom two hinge pins are actually out. The only thing holding this door on at this point is that top hinge pin. You see, I could just pick but we got the top one in. But what I was saying, if you did that in reverse and just left the bottom one in, at this point, this door could just fall and just rip that bottom hinge out and bend it and really cause a lot of extra. All right, so here's our last hinge pin, and this one has a door stop on it. I'll show you when I get it out. But basically you want to hold the door with one hand, because when we take this pin out, the door could just fall, so you want to support it with one hand. And okay, it's just sitting there. But this top one had a door stop on it, but that just slips on the hinge pin. It's no big deal. You could, we're going to put this back in, so we could leave it here, but you could take that off. But there's that black stuff I was talking about. So, like right now, if I grab this white door, I'd leave fingerprints all over it. So that's what I'm saying. These hinge pins always have this black stuff on them. There's carpet on the floor or something, you go and put a drop cloth down, because if it's a light colored carpet, this stuff like floats down and it will leave marks. And at that point, when all your hinge pins are out, you can just grab the door and just pick it up off that last hinge, and it'll be in your hands. Being careful, because they are big and heavy and awkward, because it's big. So you want to watch that you don't scratch the ceiling or the walls or anything like that. And you also want to be careful when you put it down that you don't scratch the doorknob on anything, because that's sticking out of the thing, and it's usually like a softer metal, like brass or something. So we're going to pick that door up, and we're going to carry it outside to the truck here. And I'm going to lay it down on the truck, but it could be a work table or a bench. And we just want the bottom like foot or so of the door overhanging so we can cut it with the circular saw. So what I do, and I'm just telling you guys, because there's metal here, so what I do is I put a drop cloth over that so I don't scratch the paint or the doorknob. And I know you guys aren't going to come and put yours in the back of a work truck, but I'm just telling you this because wherever you put it, you're going to have to take the same precautions that you don't scratch the paint or the doorknob. So I've got the drop cloth. We're going to go get that door and bring it out here.